What is up, my friends? It is E-Money, your BFFF. And today we're going to discuss, look, if you own a business, you likely have heard of the term KPIs, key performance indicators, and you actually need them. Like if you're going to try to manage something, you cannot do it just on feel alone, or I think, or I have a perception of something. You actually need to look at statistics. Now, here's the issue. How many of you have KPIs for your household? Now, again, when you look at your household is what we call your parent company. And you need to make sure that there are a list of key performance indicators that tell you whether or not you're in the right direction or the wrong direction, financially speaking, for your household. So there are 8 of them. And myself and Eric Gersh go through each of these KPIs. You do not want to miss it. Take a pen and paper, write down each one of these, and most importantly, make sure that you start some action towards this. Okay, your goals are not killing you. Your lack of a good system, your lack of being able to measure your progress is what's killing most of you and making the kind of progress that you want. So, as always, please engage with the show somehow. You can go to our website, Econologics Financial Advisors. Schedule an intro call, download an assessment. We have tons of material there for you. So we want to make sure that you know you're not in it alone. I really want you to enjoy this episode. I think you'll like it. And give us a like if you do, and a comment. Okay, I'll see you on the next podcast. Be well.
I'm on a mission to help 200,000 practice owners achieve financial freedom. I'm Eric Miller, author of How to Become a Financial Beast. Download my free book today, A Practice Owner's Guide to Personal and Business Wealth You Never Thought Possible.
All righty. We're going to get back to good old-fashioned financial talk today.
Yep.
Yeah. I think we vented in our last one a little bit about influencers. You know, there's I see people with their channels. They'll like watch someone doing a piece of advice and then they'll critique it. Have you seen that?
Yes.
You like that, don't you?
It's entertaining.
You would want to do that, wouldn't you?
Maybe if I knew how to make a video. Yeah, maybe.
I could see that. I don't know, man. Here's my problem with it. It's just like those are wildly popular. I mean, if we wanted to get a bunch of likes and we wanted to get a bunch of subscribers, we could probably do that. But is it
useful? Not really.
Why do we have to tear somebody else down to build ourselves up, Gersh?
Yeah.
You know?
It's a good question.
Why do we have to do that?
I don't know. You're the one that came with this idea. Not me.
Why? I know, because I know that is what is popular. You know, it is a fundamental flaw in human beings is that we feel like we have to uncreate somebody else's creation.
Yeah,
that's philosophical right there.
That's deep.
It is pretty deep. So instead of that, we'll give you some boring financial stuff today. And I think we were going to talk about, we talk a lot about, you hear the term KPIs, key performance indicators.
Yep.
And most of those people have KPIs for their business. Right. So what would you say like a KPI for a business would be? Like what's a key performance indicator? Like I own a practice. What's a key performance indicator?
It could be like revenue per patient.
Revenue per patient would be definitely one. Little test
average days to collections.
Average days of collection could be another key performance indicator. New patients could be another.
New patients, production per employee.
That would be a key performance indicator as well.
There's 1,000 of them out there.
There definitely are. And every one of you should have a list. You don't need 1,000 of them, right? But there should be a list of, I don't know, maybe 10 key performance indicators.
I have a list. I have a document for each industry that I use with clients. And for each industry, I have 6 to 10 specific KPIs. Yeah.
I think a lot of them are going to be definitely in the new patient range, arrivals, cancellation rates, especially for you in the healthcare industry, 100%. Because if people don't show up to their appointments, you ain't getting paid.
Yep.
And completion of programs, whatever it would be.
Yep.
Definitely new patients are going to be one of those as well. Collections, percent, all these things are obviously key performance indicators, but that's for your business. What about your household? And
we don't have any.
Say what? I said, yeah.
Yes, we do.
And, we've tried to get people to look at what is important versus what is unimportant. And unfortunately, too much of the time of my advisors is spent on the unimportant.
That's true.
Okay. It is spent on the unimportant. What would you say an unimportant thing would be, Gersh?
Unimportant. Let's see. Yeah. Debating on, or, I shouldn't say debating, I'm not going to say spending time because it's not necessarily a bad thing to do occasionally, but spending a lot of time just looking at the individual holdings in someone's account.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
I want you to look at every stock that's inside of my brokerage account and tell me what I should do. That's a waste of time.
That probably is a waste of time especially if there's $5,000 in the account.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is where we get into the ridiculous of people oh, well, should I move my money from my, blank account, this bank to this bank because I can get a 0.0002% higher yield over here on the $10,000 that I have in this account?
Waste of time.
That's going to improve your overall financial situation by $20 in a year.
If
that is a waste of time.
Yes.
Okay. What did you just improve? You spent an hour. Okay. Which, most of your time in your hour, if you calculate how much you guys are worth an hour, is a lot more than what we just spent on.
It's more than $20.
More than $20. It's more than $20. So you guys have to be very, very careful on how you're allocating your time and what you're looking at and what you're worried about and what you're concerned about, for sure. So you need to actually have some KPIs that will get your attention off of the nonsense and put your attention on the things that are actually, if you look at what you want your life to look like in 10 years, okay? What does my financial life look like in 10 years? Well, let's see. I want to have a lot of money coming in from multiple sources. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would like to have very few liabilities, personal liabilities, no debt personally.
Yeah.
Sound good?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. I would like to have a business that is valuable and profitable and worth something.
Yeah.
And I'd
sellable.
And sellable. And I'd like to have time to pursue other life goals that I have. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds like a dream.
So why don't we spend some time on that as opposed to all the other BS and nonsense?
Yep.
Okay.
Those are things that are going to move the needle.
Exactly. So why don't we focus on those things that and be able to measure that so that we can see whether or not you're going to make it or not. That's what we should focus our time on. Okay. And by and large, most of you do not have a plan for that. You do not have a strategy for that. You do not even have and you certainly don't have measurements for that.
Yeah.
Until today, because we're going to give you the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't know. We'll look at 8 different measurements that you can use for your household.
Yeah.
Now,
let's talk about those.
In the past, we've called these beast mode stats. So the first stat should be, we'll call it your business growth rate. Okay. And your business growth rate is basically, and we're going to use a 3-year rolling period because I think it's probably unfair just to go year by year. Let's take a look at like how you've done over the last 3 years. Okay. And we would like to see anywhere between a 25 and 40% growth rate over a 3-year period. Okay. Because that tells us then that your business is actually growing. It is growing in a manner that it can continue on that path and allow you to build something that will, well, I mean, what is the multiplier of that, where it would double probably every 6 or 7 years, if not sooner.
I mean, depending on where you fall, you got to have 72% growth to double. So, so 6 to 10 years.
Yeah, so 6 to 10 years where we're just constantly doubling the value of the business. Now, you can do it more than that. You can do it faster than that. But we have to make sure that there's a growth rate on the business. You guys are so like interested in the growth rate of your stocks and your investments and your retirement accounts. But how many of you actually look at well, my business just did this year. And then you don't get mad at yourself. Boy, you sure get mad at us if the investments don't grow at a 7 to 10% rate. Why aren't you mad at yourself for not growing this? Okay. So your business growth rate would be number one. Number two stat. How much?
Saving your savings. And you should be saving as a business owner. 7 to 10% of the business's revenue.
Yeah. Every week. Every week. So if you're pulling in $30,000 a week, $3,000 should be going into a separate account that's capturing that money. And that's going to be used for, investment strategies for the household to create multiple income sources. It's just that simple.
Yeah, this is how you get financially free.
Yeah, $3,000 a week.
10 years.
$3,000 a week. Does that seem like a lot? I mean, when you're pulling in $30,000 or $40,000 a week?
No.
Right? What's 3 times 52, Gersh?
Let's see, 156.
$156,000 every single year. Okay. Which is much more than what the average person is saving.
Yeah, it's more than the average person is making.
Exactly. Yeah, you're right.
Let alone saving.
Yeah. So that is the habit. That's the system to get started ASAP. Okay. Now, if you have questions on how to do that, because we do that every single day, make sure you hit our website up, go to econologicsfinancialadvisors.com. We can certainly help you, show you how to do that. But my God, that is the single most important thing that I think we've done for people over the years.
Oh, hands down.
Is to show them how to systematize taking their profits out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
by a far amount. Okay. So that's number 2. So growth rate, 25 to 40% over a 3-year rolling period. 7 to 10% of your weekly collections should be separated out, paid to a separate account for the purpose of wealth building. That's a stat, right? You can measure. What's the third one?
Being on track to pay off all your personal debt in the next 5 to 7 years.
Okay. So yeah. All right. So that seems wildly unreal to a lot of people, I think, doesn't it?
Oh yeah.
7 years and you're talking about having everything paid off in my household, cars, homes,
student
debts,
loans,
all that stuff. You can actually do that. Yeah.
Well, most people don't have a debt plan.
Yeah. I mean, and how much actually would you have to commit extra to pay off, let's say, $800,000 of personal debt? This is where people, I think, don't really realize how
not as much as you would think.
It's not as much. It's sometimes it's 500, 1,000, maybe 2,000 a month.
Yep.
Of an accelerator to be able to do that.
Yeah.
It's never as much as what you think it is.
No, getting out of debt. When we have a debt software that we can plug everything into and, show you, but getting out of debt is not really that hard. It just takes discipline.
Yeah.
And if you can stay disciplined for 5 to 7 years, the vast majority of people listening could be debt free.
Yeah, it really is. I think that I've never had more aha moments than when I put a debt plan together on and it's just math, right?
Yep.
And it's just showing them, and then I show them, hey, look, if you take all this debt and we just utilize it over and over, the payments that you're making to all the debts over and over again, all this can be paid off in like 6 years. And they're like, what? Like, yeah, all of it can be paid off in like 6 years.
Yeah,
And
people don't believe it.
they're like, no way. I'm like, yeah, it's just math.
Yeah.
Let
me show you.
Yeah. Let me show you how to do it. And it's like, oh my God.
Mhm.
I'm like, yeah, I mean, it's just math. You got to be aware of it. Okay. So are you on track to be personally debt free? And that would be the third indicator that we have. Number 4 is your effective tax rate.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
This is right up your alley. So what is the effective tax rate? Maybe define that first.
Yeah, effective is basically your average, right? Because the U.S., we're a bracketed system where you pay X percent on the first, 10,000 of income, X percent on the next 10,000, or, I mean, those aren't the actual numbers, but as you make more, you pay a higher rate on those additional dollars.
Yep.
The effective rate is just saying, okay, let's make this simple. What did I pay in tax for every dollar I made last year?
That's it.
Yep. That's simple.
How many of you guys have ever asked your accountant what your effective tax rate is? 5%.
Very few.
5%.
Well, no one, I don't think most people don't even know that there is something called an effective tax rate.
It's like that.
Yeah.
Now, what should that number be? Now, again, it's going to be relative to your income. If you're a business owner, I mean, let's face it, you guys should have a target of making north of $300,000 a year of personal income.
Yeah.
So we would certainly want your effective tax rate to be under 30%. I would like it to be closer to 20%.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think, besides income, where you live also matters, know. State taxes can be anywhere from 0 to 12%.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Like in California, it's hard to do.
Yeah.
Minnesota would be another place that's hard to do.
Yeah.
But look, all we're trying to say is like, this is the stat. All right. And then you need to come up with a plan of how you're going to minimize this. Okay. And, 5% reduction in your effective tax rate. I mean, you guys can do the math.
Yeah. If you make 300,000, that's 15 a year.
Yeah. That's 15,000 a year. If I can just reduce it by that much.
Yep.
And it doesn't take that much planning and proactiveness to be able to do that. But you got to know what the stat is first to do something about it. And by and large, most people don't know what that is.
Nope.
Okay. All right. So effective tax rate, I'd like to keep it, somewhere between 20 and 25%, I think would be awesome.
Yep. Next.
Okay. Business reserves.
Yes.
Yes.
I love this one.
Why is that?
Because most people don't have business reserves.
Yeah.
Or, and if they do, it's nowhere near what they need.
What do they need?
Ideally 60 days of expenses, I would say. I mean, and in this one, I always explain to clients, so you got to take with a grain of salt, right? If you're a 5-doctor practice,
yep,
and you're a doctor and you get hurt and you still have 4 doctors working, right? Having a ton of reserves probably isn't as important as if you're a 1-doctor practice.
Yeah, for sure.
So there's wiggle room here, but for our average client, I would say, 45 to 60 days of expenses.
Yeah. I mean, and this would seem like common sense is that you have to plan for this.
Yeah.
Okay. And you like any other surplus that you want to have, you have to make it and treat it like a bill. So for all of you that are wondering, well, how do I create a reserve pool in my business so that I have 60 days of expenses? Well, how do you pay your rent every month?
Yeah, so it's how do
you pay your salaries for your employees? You make the money.
You make the money, and it's no different than building a reserve fund for your household. You spend less than you make.
Yeah, exactly. So you have to make sure that you account for it.
Yeah.
And this goes back to you have to add this in as a bill, and it's going to create more of a necessity for your business to be able to make it. I mean, it's not rocket science.
No.
Okay. But it's a very important stat because, if there's a zombie apocalypse, which, I think Gersh thinks actually is going to happen in the next 5 years.
We can only hope.
Where, people are going to, your businesses could be shut down again. You're going to need to make sure you have money. Pure and simple. Plus that you really can't protect yourself. You get sued for some reason, stupid reason. Gersh every single day, almost, stands at the back of my car when I back up.
One day you're not going to see me.
So we can get workers' comp.
It's going to be a great day.
Jesus. Terrible. All right. Number 6, your asset base for passive income. Okay. So we have a, what do we have? We have a stat called the RIMI, where there's a certain asset base that we want people to have that will allow them to generate enough, quote unquote, passive income that could pay for their basic lifestyle. Okay.
Yeah. Your RIMI, to define that for anyone who doesn't know, your RIMI is basically, okay, when I'm retired, how much do I need coming into the household each month to cover my basic costs of living?
Yeah. So let's say your basic costs of living are, I don't know, $10,000 a month.
Yep.
Okay. That's $120,000 a year.
Yep.
So how much would I need in RIMI assets to be able to cover $10,000? I think it's 2.4 million.
2.4.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So I need 2.4 million in assets generating an income to be able to do that. Okay. Now that could be, retirement accounts. That could be, other investments that you have.
Commercial real estate.
Yeah. That's generating that. But I need at least 2.4 million to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the asset base. What do you have right now?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I only have 30% of that. All right. Well, that's not bad, but obviously we want to get to 100% as fast as possible.
Yep.
But we have to track it. We have to
know where you're at.
Yeah. We have to track that number so that we can figure out exactly what it is that you're doing. All right. Yep. So that's number 6. Number 7?
Profit margin in the practice or the business. Yeah.
It's not. Yep. Let's go.
Well, obviously profit margins are going to be somewhat industry specific, but for us, every industry that we work in is capable of having a profit margin at 20% or
yes, they all are. And yep. I don't care what Medicare is doing, or I don't care what, cost of goods sold is doing, and blah, blah, blah.
And it's easier in some than others. That is a fact.
It is, but every business has the ability to do a 20% margin.
Yes.
You may not want to confront having to get rid of unproductive people. That's the problem that you have. You may not want to confront the fact that your marketing isn't working to drive in new patients.
Yep.
You may want to confront the fact that whatever it is, but your collections department's not doing what it's supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
So that's the key, but you still need to make sure that you have a stat that measures your profit margin. That profit margin has to be above 20%, at or above 20%.
Yep.
Okay. I'm still seeing people right now. Well, if we're at 10 to 15, we're okay. No, you're not. You're not. You may not be broke,
Yeah, but you're not. You want your profit margin to be, cream of the crop. You want to be, because it'll also, not only does it benefit you today, but if you have a profit margin that's cream of the crop when you go to sell, guess what?
Yeah.
That's how you get those high multiples.
It's the only way you're going to get a high multiple. Okay. Yep. You guys have to realize the value of your practice is tied to the profit of your practice.
Yep.
All right. It's based upon a multiple, and it's, I don't care if you're doing $10 million a year in revenue. If you got a 2% profit margin, all right, your practice is not going to sell for what it could. All right. So make sure that you at least get up to that 20% marker. Okay. The last one I have is earned income of the household.
Yes.
So
how much money are you making?
What's the overall money that you're making? And by and large, guys, if you want to be able to get ahead, Now I'm talking to like a family of 4, for most people, not like a single person, but a family. If you want to be able to have a comfortable lifestyle, save money and invest that, okay, and be able to get out of debt faster, trying to do that on $100,000 a year is not going to happen.
Yeah, not anymore.
Nope, not anymore. Okay, you have to be at least $300,000 a year of earned income to be able to do that, at least. Okay, now you can try to scrimp and save your way out of it and be able to do otherwise, but why don't you just say, okay, and most of you that own a practice, there's really no reason why you shouldn't be able to make $300,000 a year.
Yeah, this is the combination of your salary, your profit, your rental income if you own the building. You know, this is everything all in. This isn't,
Yes.
So,
yeah. And, with the inflation rate, the way it's going right now, you may need to start targeting $400,000 a year. Okay. But you have to make sure that your earned income is high enough so that you can, have enough to be able to spread around, do things that you want to do.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's just that simple. So, there's not any other way to do it. I mean, maybe there is, but, I don't want to live on romaine noodles or, try to find the cheapest flight on the most raggedy airline possible, to be able to do that, which I know you do, Gersh.
You're talking to a man of Spirit Airlines right here.
Which is disappointing to me,
Oh, no, I'm just cheap. I can afford Delta, but I fly Spirit.
Terrible advice. All right. So to wrap it up, those are your, I think we had 8 KPIs, business growth rate, above 20 to 25 to 40%, your profit, every week you are banking, 7 to 10% of your profit. You're on track to be personally debt free, 7 to 10 years, your effective tax rates between 20 and 25%. You got at least 60 days of business reserves. You're moving towards your asset base for your passive income, and you're moving towards that. Business profit margin is at least 20%, and you're making over $300,000 a year.
Yeah, if you do all those things, you're going to be living pretty darn good.
Can't imagine that your life would suck if those things were occurring right there.
No.
So focus on those things and cut out the knucklehead stuff.
Boom.
There you go. All right, we'll see you guys in the next one.